In the peaceful village of Yamuz, there lived a young man named Imanik.
Go well.
Everyone loved him. The elderly blessed him whenever they saw him.
Welcome back.
The youths admired him. The women whispered about him as the kind of husband every mother prayed for her daughter to marry.
Thank you so much, my son.
Whenever there was communal work, Imanik was always the first to arrive. When a widow needed help repairing her roof, Imanik was there. When a family could not afford a burial, he could.
We are truly sorry for your loss.
To his kindred, he was more than a son. He was a blessing. As the years passed, Imanik married a beautiful woman named Ugochi. Their wedding was celebrated throughout the village. People said, "Now our son has become a complete man." Imanik smiled proudly. Little did he know that a secret had been buried long before he was born. A secret his mother carried to her grave. 1 year after his marriage, the annual kindred gathering was held. As tradition demanded, a large cow was slaughtered. The meat was carefully shared among the men of the kindred. One after another, the men stepped forward and picked their portions with their own hands from the sharing tray. It was a sign of belonging. A sign of inheritance. A sign that a man was truly recognized among his people. When Imanik's turn came, something unusual happened. An elderly man reached into the tray and picked a piece of meat for him. The old man stretched out his hand. "Take this, my son." Imanik frowned. He looked around. Every other man had chosen his own portion. Why was he different? He smiled politely. "No, Papa. I can pick it myself." The atmosphere changed immediately. The elders lowered their heads. Some stared at the ground. Others looked away. Silence covered the gathering. Imanik's smile disappeared. "Why can't I pick my own share?" he asked. Nobody answered. The silence became heavier. He turned toward another elder. "Did I offend someone?" Again, no answer. His heart began to pound. Then an elderly man slowly stood up. It was Mr. Njoku, his late mother's uncle. The old man looked at him with pity in his eyes.
Didn't your mother tell you?
"Imanik. Didn't your mother tell you?" The word struck him like thunder. "My mother tell me what?" Imanik demanded. Nobody spoke. Not one person. Not even Mr. Njoku. Imanik's face burned with anger and humiliation. Without another word, he turned and walked away from the gathering. When he got home, his wife could immediately see something was wrong. His eyes were red. His voice trembled. His fists were clenched. "What happened?" she asked. Imanik sat silently. Hours later, there was a knock at the door. It was his mother's elder sister. "Auntie," Imanik said. The old woman entered quietly. She sat beside him. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, she sighed. "The time has come for you to know the truth." Imanik stared at her. "What truth?" Tears gathered in her eyes. "Your mother never told you because she wanted to protect you." "Protect me from what?" The old woman swallowed hard. Then she spoke. "Your grandfather had no son. Only daughters. When your grandfather became old, he feared that his family name would disappear forever. So your mother was chosen to remain in her father's house and bear a child who would continue the family lineage." Imanik's heart skipped a beat. "What are you saying?" The old woman lowered her head. "The man who fathered you was never recognized as your father. You were born to continue your grandfather's name." The room became silent. Imanik felt as if the walls were closing around him. "No." His voice cracked. "No." The old woman continued. "That is why certain customs do not allow you to perform some traditional rites in your kindred. You are loved. Respected. honored. But according to ancient tradition, you cannot take meat directly from the kindred sharing tray. Emanike's eyes filled with tears. Why? Because the elders say you have no recognized father in the lineage. The words shattered
Your
him.
mother did not leave you.
That
there.
night, Emanike
She
did
was
not
trying to
sleep.
protect you.
For days he barely ate. Everything he thought he knew about himself suddenly felt uncertain. The people who had loved him all his life knew. His mother's uncle knew. The elders knew. Even some of his friends knew. Only he did not know. The pain was unbearable. A few days later, he walked to the village cemetery. There, beneath an old mango tree, lay his mother's grave. He knelt beside it. The wind moved gently through the grass. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Mama. His voice trembled. Mama, why? No answer came. Only silence. Mama, why didn't you tell me? I would have understood. His tears fell onto the earth. All these years. Everyone knew except me. The pain in his chest felt heavier than any burden he had ever carried. Again he whispered. Mama, why? Months later, Mr. Njoku visited
To
him.
the quiet voice in
The old man found Emanike sitting alone.
is rarely clear.
My son, he said gently,
My son,
you have focused on what tradition says you are not.
the path
But you have forgotten what you are.
but the heart.
Emanike looked up. Mr. Njoku continued. You are a good husband. A good father. A good son. A good man. No tradition can take that away. The old man smiled. And remember this. Your children will inherit fully because they have you as their father. For the first time in many months, Emanike allowed himself to smile. The wound remained. But healing had begun. And though he still visited his mother's grave from time to time, his questions slowly changed. No longer. Mama, why? But instead. Mama, I understand.
I visited Mama's grave to drop flowers.
Thank you. I love you.
Sometimes the deepest wounds come not from enemies, is not defined by traditions, but by the life they choose to live and the character they leave behind.